Welcome to the 5 Secrets of the Masters of Media Selling. This short webinar will show you the 5 secret skills that advertising sales stars use to win more business. If you think these skills can help you, you can sign up for the public Masters of Media Selling seminar I produce with Media Post for an in-depth learning on how you can apply these secrets. This introduction is designed for any advertising salesperson or sales manager who wants to be a star by winning more business. Whether you sell multi-million-dollar national advertising packages in digital or magazines or television, or you sell business-to-business or local or special interest advertising. The 5 secrets will help you whether you sell print or outdoor, online or live event sponsorships, newspapers or radio. Here is what we'll cover today. I'll start by telling you a little more about the experiences that allowed me to assemble the 5 secrets. I've studied what works across many different kinds of media businesses. I'll explain briefly the customer traits that are common to so many advertising media sales situations, creating the need to solve 5 problems. Then I'll explain the 5 secrets, and I'll tell you how to improve your own skills to use the 5 secrets. I'm Dan Ambrose. I founded ambro.com media sales consulting in 1994. I got my start with advertising sales as an intern at a small political magazine, then worked in sales at American Film Magazine when VCRs were new media. I got my first training at Ziff Davis when they owned special interest magazines, where I was advertising director of Backpacker, and went on to sell at House Beautiful and in a corporate sales position at Hearst before founding Father's Magazine. Later, I managed multimedia sales at American Baby and led Child Magazine as publisher. Since then, I've been providing strategy and training advice on a consulting basis to hundreds of media companies. I've especially been active in internet media, where I helped launch iVillage, wrote the business plans for BeliefNet and Media Bistro, and advised and later served on the board of directors for Caboose, an online parenting media company that grew from a few $100,000 to almost $30 million in advertising revenue in a few short years. I have experience with direct response-oriented advertisers like the core clients at BeliefNet, with packaged goods advertisers at iVillage and Caboose, and with business-to-business and employment advertising at Media Bistro, as well as video with MGM, cable television advertising for American Baby and the Healthy Kids TV shows, sampling and couponing as well. In short, the principles of execution and sales are the same across many media. At each level of the industry I've worked in, I've been a sales star. Not because I have an overpowering personality, nor am I a hail fellow well met, but I simply apply the tactics that I teach, the so-called blocking and tackling of ad sales, more consistently than my fellow salespeople. The strategic sales tactics training I developed at ambro.com and that I teach in the Masters of Media Selling fall into 3 groups of skills. First is the disciplined time and territory management that put me in the right place at the right time with the right information to make a sale. Wrong time, no sale. Too late, no sale. Wrong information available, no sales. Not the decision maker, no sale. The second is that I focused on building logical presentations. This may seem obvious, but it's not to most salespeople. Most sales presentations I've seen, and I've seen hundreds, are so self-centered they can only be compared to propaganda or worse, a bad blind date. You simply must sell logically, from easy to agree to facts and principles toward the final agreement. A statement that you're bigger or cheaper or more targeted has no traction, no matter how well documented, unless the prospect has agreed that size or price or targeting is what matters to them. And finally, there's the interpersonal skills that allow you to sell. How do you open the conversation and engage the customer? How do you ask smart questions and probe for objections or opportunities? How do you handle objections and close? Each of the 5 secrets will help you excel in one of these 3 skill areas. And despite what you or your management might wish for, there is no simple pill to take or shot I can give you that will be a sales performance enhancer. Sales is about execution of simple tactics that everyone can do if they listen and learn well, and most importantly, execute. It would be nice if I could promise you only one simple secret, but selling advertising media is far too complicated and too interesting for there to be only one simple trick to learn or pill to take. The reason for the 5 secrets is that there are 5 conditions of the market that are not commonly or well understood by salespeople and not addressed in most sales training. First is that salespeople too often don't call on the key person whose influence determines their sales success. At bigger accounts, all fingers point to the, quote, buyer, end quote, as the person to call on, but their superiors, sometimes multiple layers of influencers, really do the thinking and the deciding. This phenomena is often seen at small companies where the owner appears to be the top person, but their spouse influences the funds available and the choices as well. Secondly, in today's world, prospects don't have time to fill you in on their needs, and getting the top people to listen to you is difficult. Compounding the problem, your prospects have seen too many salespeople conduct their sales calls like a bad blind date. Because salespeople believe in their media, they start telling rather than selling. They never get the customer engagement they need to learn from the customer what they care about and will buy. Because sales prospects are under so much time pressure in their day-to-day lives, they don't express their objections. Too often, salespeople hear no objections and conclude it was a good call. But without hearing an objection or a pointed question from a prospect, the sales call is a wasted one. The client just wanted you out of their office as quickly and politely as possible. And lastly is the issue of closing. In most advertising sales situations, the business can't be closed on the spot. But to be effective, salespeople must achieve some sort of commitment. Most salespeople don't know what to ask for other than, "Will you send me an RFP?" which is a lame and losing closing tactic. So what are the 5 secrets? First is the decision and skills to get appointments with the decision makers, the ones who say, "I delegated that to so-and-so." The so-and-so they delegate to simply wants to please them by purchasing what they think their boss wants. So let's talk about selling to the top brass. Many good advertising executives, maybe all, delegate to their team and respect what comes back. But the members of the team still want to please their boss. So all planners and buyers instinctively balance their professional pride in finding and recommending the very best new choices, like your media property, with the interest in getting their plan approved easily and recommending what they know the boss likes. Masters of selling know they need to influence the top executives to give permission to those down the delegation chain. Senior executives don't want to be taken through a sales pitch on why you're better than your competitor. You'll be talking their language when you set up an appointment to discuss information they're interested in, and it won't be the same as what the buyer wants to know. Secret number 2 is to be talking about something a top executive would be interested in. What will you present to a senior executive? Selling to Vito is one book that helped me see how to present to top executives in a new way. To open the meeting by showing them that I understand their situation in a sophisticated way, or I can introduce information they don't have that helps them understand their customers. Once you've shown them you deserve to be in their office, they'll open up to a discussion that will tell you more about their needs so you can sell them what they want, and so they'll influence their direct reports to favorably view your property. Senior executives are sponges for information. As a salesperson, you can bring far more than expertise on your own media. Masters of media selling bring case studies that senior executives can learn from, comparisons they don't have from market study data your company gathers, market share trend data, evidence of how the market is changing, or how competitors are changing, or how customers are changing the way they make purchase decisions. You can show them ways their advertising can be more effective, or other comparison data that can be used in a new way, which makes for a good segue to the 3rd secret of the masters, persuasion by logic. Persuasion occurs not by force of personality or the salesperson's own beliefs transmitted somehow to the prospect, but by a logical persuasion that starts with shared agreement. There are 7 principles of persuasion. You should be using all of them. It's true, salespeople also cite authorities and point to other clients as social proof. You try to be liked. Ideally, you use scarcity when you offer special positions or exclusivity, or use reciprocation when they entertain clients. But it's the commitment and consistency of starting with a shared agreement to a set of facts or needs and logical progression to sale that the masters use better than other salespeople. Logic is the surprising 3rd secret. Logic that starts with an easy agreement to a client situation or need. It's logic that persists in a sales situation and can be transmitted from your contact to the others in the decision hierarchy. That's why the masters of media selling start their presentation with defining the market situation of the prospect and seeking agreement. If you don't define the market situation, you can be sure someone else will. It's likely to be the agency that defines the situation and needs. Or in some cases, the client is frankly uncertain what their needs are. When an agency sets the situation and needs, you can be sure they'll favor the agency's favorite media, or the client's prejudices, so it'll be easy to get agreement. The agency gets paid no matter what media they buy, but you don't. Discussing the client's situation and needs has the advantage that you're talking about something they're interested in. And when you bring valuable information and perspective to the conversation, you'll get true engagement from the highest executives. Think of this arrow graphic as the flow of your presentation. Start with the easy agreement on the situation, and then emphasize how the market situation is changing. Emphasizing change is the secret part of the secret of logical persuasion. Because you're trying to get the client to change their spending, to add your media, focusing on how things are changing has the psychological effect of opening up their mind to the need to change. It may surprise you to know that a corollary of this secret approach is that because you're talking about what the client cares about, the whole first half of the presentation has yet to mention your own medium. At the same time, you will have built-in agreement to key details that favor your property. But because the client has now heard you talk about their situation in such an intelligent way and has agreed with you on your assessment of the situation, they'll be anxious to hear you talk about your property and how it will solve their already agreed-to problems. The fourth secret is how masters value objections. They find ways to bring out and handle objections. Masters know if they haven't heard an objection, they haven't really succeeded. Their prospect may be simply sitting through their presentation, passively hoping to get them out of the office or off the phone as quickly as possible. Masters know they need to probe for objections by asking about an objection you may have heard about before or from another client. Celebrate the objections you hear, as it means the persons you're calling on is taking the call or meeting seriously, and because you can't handle objections that are hidden. Don't take a nodding head or an okay or an I hear you as a sign of no objections. It just means they want to keep you going and are either not hiding their objections or holding them back for later. It's okay to recognize you won't overcome every objection. When your prospect tells you they don't have enough money or don't need your property or even that the timing isn't right, that's what you need to know. You'll make an attempt to overcome their objections, but masters of media selling know when to move on and focus their energy elsewhere. Perhaps to come back when the timing is right. If you don't know the real objections, you risk investing your scarce time in working on an account that will frankly not produce, wasting your time. When you hear an objection, masters of media use the feel, felt, found method of rewarding the prospect for voicing their opinion, letting them know you understand how they feel because other customers felt that way before too. You can then determine how difficult the objection is and then assess whether you can overcome the objection or if it might be better use of your time to work on another account. Some sales training approaches take the always be closing approach. But the fifth secret isn't a closing trick, but knowing what to ask for. In the complex world of media selling, the process is one of first offering information and insight and proposing a solution, then asking for something in return, closing on an action that advances the sale. Rather than asking for the business when the contact can't reasonably promise it, masters of media selling ask for a commitment from their contact that will take the selling process to the next step, that's genuinely closer to the sale. One advance to ask for is help in setting a follow-up meeting with other influencers. Because the purchase of advertising by bigger advertisers is done on a consensus basis between a buyer, a boss, and frequently a financial person or a client, masters of media selling know they need to meet with the whole team, not just the so-called buyer. Asking for help in setting up the group meeting is a commitment the buyer can make. Another example that applies in many markets is that frequently business is done based on competing through an RFP process. When a prospect buyer says, quote, "I'll send you an RFP," end quote, frequently that's taken as a success by the salesperson. But in reality, they've not advanced the sale. The work of responding to an RFP is wasted if the salesperson doesn't know precisely what needs to be in the proposal that will win the RFP process. Asking for that information, closing on the possible, is the secret skill that masters of media use. Masters of media selling know how competitive their world is. Looking for easy and simple answers will not win in today's complex and crowded market of media choices for advertisers. If you want to hone your skills and improve your productivity, sign up for the Masters of Media Selling courses staged by MediaPost and taught by me through ambro.com. Check my website at ambro.com for links to public courses or contact me directly for custom courses created for you and your team with research and examples that are customized for your market and for your media.